You're tuned into RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
4 seconds left. In front. Happy moment. The Tampa Bay Lightning have won the Stanley Cup. And the Tampa Bay Lightning have won the Stanley Cup. Lightning strikes twice. The Tampa Bay Lightning win their second straight Stanley Cup.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to RBLR Lightning. As always, my name is Dave Ricker. Alongside me is Joe Zamataro and Matt Gannon. Guys, welcome back for another episode of RBR Lightning here as we continue on in the offseason. I believe we are under perfect days now until the start of the NHL season. We're getting so much closer. I can't wait any longer, though. I'm ready to go right now. I don't want to wait any more weeks for hockey season. But first and foremost, guys, how you doing today?
Doing well. A little bit of an afternoon show, so not quite our usual time, but excited to get into some of the content we have because there is a little bit of movement. There are a few things we can talk about.
Yes, thank you guys for conforming to my schedule. I've got a fantasy draft coming up, but I won't bother you guys every week with this fantasy team. It doesn't play a role into this show. But yeah, thank the Lord we have a football, at least for me, to hold me over a little bit till we get to hockey, but I'm still craving some NHL hockey.
We are going a little bit earlier than our normal time, which, by the way, we always have been doing these shows live as of late. And if you're missing out, don't forget to follow us at RBR Lightning, at RBLR Sports. So you know right when we go live. You can ring the bell on YouTube as well for notifications. Should let you know when we do live. And we're live on all the fun social media platforms, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. But be sure to follow us so you don't miss out when we do these shows live. You can join the comments here with us live when we're talking about all this fun stuff. Or I got a couple of people out here in the comments saying here as well, by the way, at least it says hockey withdrawal is real. Listen, I'm right there with you. Hockey withdrawal is definitely real for me. But let's get into, Joe, you kind of mentioned it. There is a little bit of news to talk about. The first one, it's kind of some sad news. It's kind of some not some great news, but we got to talk about it. Bally Sports is set to continue broadcasting the Lightning in 2024 through 2025. So a moment of silence as Bally Sports is somehow still hanging around. I don't know how they're doing it. This company was supposed to be bankrupt a couple of months ago, but they've been doing a lot of things behind the scenes. There's lots of court hearings and a whole bunch of other stuff. And a lot of Lightning fans are wondering what's going to happen for this upcoming season. Bally Sports will continue to broadcast the games. Basically, they have a plan in place to get themselves out of bankruptcy. There still has to be some approvals from a bankruptcy judge. I don't know all the fine details. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know how it all exactly works, but it still has to be approved. But essentially, Bally is just trying to find different ways. They're dropping some other teams. They're paying some other teams less, including a lot of the teams in the NHL, just to try and get out of bankruptcy and get back on track. So that is the general overall view of it. I highly recommend if you want to get the finer details, go check out some of the articles that are out on it. But Bally is back for next year.
Remind me, what was the part that we hate about Bally so much?
Everything.
Where can I start? The fact that their app never works. There's always problems.
Towards the end of last season, I didn't have too much problems with their apps. From the money standpoint, no matter who's going to own it, it's not like it's going to get cheaper or own the rights to broadcast. It's not going to be cheaper to watch it on any other platform.
Well, but I'd rather have a more consistent platform and one that doesn't make me log in every time I try to use it. Like log in every 2 days, even back-to-back games would have me log in or crash, whatever it might do. I remember it was a Bolts versus Flyers game earlier on this past season. And something happened in the arena, and NBC Sports Philadelphia got their feedback up within the same period. And Bally, it took till pretty much the end of the game. I might be exaggerating a little bit.
No, it took them a long time to get the feedback up. Yeah,
way longer. It's easier to list the things they do right than what they do wrong, just because there's so very few things they do.
You don't
right.
like having to. So I have a Samsung TV, like a smart TV, and they finally got the Bally app on it, and I was excited about that because I was having to use like my Xbox or a computer or something to actually put it on my TV. But it always crashes right in the second intermission for some reason.
Really?
Get like clockwork, almost to the point where I can, go kind of nerd speak. There's a caching issue where it's not flushing the cache and like it maxes out its buffer size, and then the app goes down because it's like the same point in every single game, right? In that second intermission where it just completely crashes.
Would it do that on your Xbox?
No, nope,
Oh,
just for the Samsung app.
Oh,
Yeah.
just for the Samsung. Okay, because I dealt with something similar. I don't think it was as consistent as the second intermission, but it was at some point, like during a commercial break or during an intermission, where it would pretty consistently crash. It wasn't an every single time thing, but it was enough that you were unsurprised by it at a point.
Well, yeah, I mean, the other thing that drives me nuts too is if you're trying to, for this, especially for this show for the podcast, rewatching the games or at least certain parts is really helpful, especially if they had like a 4-game week. I'll go back through and watch, but it is miserable to try to scroll through with the way that they have it for you to speed up the game and try to get to a specific play is really, really difficult.
I don't think there's anything that I enjoy about Bally. Maybe, don't get me wrong, though, like our broadcasters are fantastic. They work for Bally because they're just working for whoever's calling it, but the actual product of Bally is just it's not good. It's not good, and there are so many things wrong with it. You have to basically go direct through Bally as well because they have no deals with half of the big TV providers. I think there's only like two, maybe three in the Tampa area that actually carry Bally. So, like, if you have YouTube TV, for example, which I've actually been really enjoying, you can't watch Lightning games. You have to go direct through Bally, and their app is an absolute disaster. So that's another frustrating part. Most other teams have plenty of deals with other networks, I guess it would be in TV companies where you can still get Bally on the basic subscription.
That is definitely annoying, but that's something that goes back to the Fox Sports Sun days before Bally's, where you had to get a local sports package in order to get it. And I tried getting YouTube. I haven't had cable for I don't know over 10 years, cable television. So like YouTube, you couldn't get it. Really, any like even if you try to get Spectrum or like Verizon, where they had the online like the streaming package where it's not technically their cable package, they didn't cover Sun Sports back then. So that's something that's been a struggle for me as a like streaming only person since before Bally's, but Bally's done nothing to correct that either.
Yeah, and yes, you're right to an extent, but also I feel like it's been worse on Bally that we've lost more. Like if there were definitely more options back when Sun Sports, Fox Sports had it. I don't remember exactly how many different in the exact comparison there, but it hasn't gotten any better. A couple of comments here from some of our fans here to talk about Bally as well. Lisa says, if you live out of state, you can't get Lightning games. That's absolutely true. Even if you have, I don't think even if you have the Bally Direct, it doesn't work like that, which is annoying as well.
You can on ESPN Plus, but that's if you want to pay for that. So how many
Right,
people
it's
want
another
to?
extra subscription you got to add on. Danny here says, I don't understand how they haven't figured out the transition from pregame show to the game without making you exit. Yes, this is huge.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've
That's a great
the
point.
game early, but you got to like exit the app 5 times, go back in, wait for the actual game to show up, and then pick it. Next thing you know, you've missed a minute of the actual game. That is definitely something that is extremely frustrating when you're doing through the app. So yeah, there's a laundry list of problems, and there are so many better options. Matt, you kind of hit it right. Like NBC Philadelphia seems like it's just better. And the NHL, Joe, you kind of hit on this, right? That's kind of it's the what is the name for it? The regional sports networks. That is the overall issue. Bally itself is not great, but regional sports networks are the bigger picture issue here. And the NHL, for some reason, and a lot of sports still are set on staying with them. The NFL is really the only one that doesn't have any regional sports networks. Those games are all nationally broadcast. Now, the NFL and NHL are very two different sports leagues, but it seems like regional sports networks need to go. Not seems like, they do need to go, and it seems like it's maybe starting to. Bally has dropped a lot of the basketball teams and even some of the MLB teams because they're trying to get out of this bankruptcy thing. But for some reason, the NHL is sticking with it. I did read in the one article, by the way, too, about sticking with Bally for next season, that they are going to be paying NHL teams less. And this is what really doesn't fully compute with me here, because we talked about many times how the NHL is the smallest market when it comes to the four major sports. They're going to take less money now for a crappier product that's further going to not promote their game, and that's already a major issue for this league. That one really got me, and this other thing, I just don't understand why they're still using Bally, why they have not dropped them already and moved on to something better. It's beyond me.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams, like we've been saying, that have already dropped them. The Panthers is one that I think they're continuing their partnership, but they also released a new direct from the team streaming service as well. I'm not sure exactly how they're doing it. It's the same provider that the Golden Knights and now the former Coyotes, the Utah club, they're using. I can't tell you exactly who it is, but essentially it is directly from the team. You don't have to go through Bally or anything. It's about $10 a month cheaper. I think it is $10 a month or something like that, which you save $10 a month, that adds up a good bit. But some options would be nice too, instead of just being handcuffed to this awful provider. A little bit of freedom options, getting rid of the regional sports network, which is such an archaic business model nowadays. I don't understand the purpose that it serves at all anymore. I understand there used to be a place for, regional networks, but it's just archaic technology, not technology, but an archaic service nowadays.
Yeah, I definitely kind of agree with you, where it's, even, blackouts in general drive me nuts, because that really is just trying to protect the regional sports networks. And sometimes, yeah, they produce some stuff that's worthy of sitting down and watching. You'll have some inside the locker room things with the Lightning, but most of that's can be produced by the Tampa Bay Lightning organization themselves anyway, so that it's almost a redundancy. Shoot, was it probably more than 10 years ago? I had for a number of years the center ice package from the NHL, where you get to watch all the games. And of course, they always blacked out you locally, so you still would have to either work around through a proxy, which I think that's what I did half the time, was try to find a way to watch it on that, because it was convenient and the app worked or worked pretty well, especially for then. But then if you were on your phone or something, you wouldn't be able to watch it unless you had other ways to fool it, unless you, again, subscribe to a regional package. It's almost easier to watch it out of state than in state.
It is. And the Bally app is kind of smart with VPNs and proxies and stuff like that. It's kind of like Netflix now, where it needs you to set up your home account or whatever, and that's the only one that you can use, and it's tracking you. Even if you put your VPN to Virginia or North Dakota, whatever it is, it'll still know something is up and something is wrong and deny you to watch the game, whatever it might be. So it's pretty proof of cheating the system.
Well, at least they have something to complain about and unify together against.
Well, that's very true. You can complain enough for another whole season. I don't think there's any official word on what the long-term future is for Bally. Listen, they're still in bankruptcy procedures. So will this get them out of it and they can get back on track and keep the NHL rights? That remains to be seen. The only thing is, we know the what's the expression? The can has been kicked down the road for a little bit. So Bally's going to do at least one more year. I don't know if the NHL will move away from it. Hopefully they do, because it's hurting the game. It's hurting the fans. I don't think there's anything good about Bally, period. And that's a little unfortunate. But that was the news that came out, and there's nothing really much you can do about it from there. So. Two quick comments here from Daniel as well. I want to get those in there. Appreciate everybody that joins us live here and joins the conversation as well. Daniel says, Bally app isn't great, but it could be worse. Some teams have had long stretches of not broadcasting their games due to contract disputes with cable companies. Well, that's Bally is the same thing. It's happened before as well with them. That's the regional sports network thing where they're kind of all doing it, and we would love to get away from that. He also said too here, less money from the original contract is better than no money. Yes, true. Maybe there's no competing bidders. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of that. I haven't heard any reports of anything like that, but I find it hard to believe that there's not one company out there that would be willing to pick up some I know a lot of teams too now. Like I think the Coyotes did their own broadcast, if I remember correctly, at the end of the season there when they got dropped by Bally. So I don't know what they would go to. I don't know what the money would be. You know, there's not a lot of reporting out there on that, but I would expect that there'd be somebody out there that would be willing to broadcast NHL games. It's still a big deal to have that. But you know, at the end of the day, that is the bottom line for the 2024-2025 season, and we'll see what happens from there. All right, let's jump into some other news and talk about our prospects here for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, prospects is always a big talk for the Bolts because, of course, the Lightning have been trading their draft picks nonstop for the last couple of years, and it's worked out well for them. They won back-to-back Stanley Cups. They made 3 straight Stanley Cup final appearances. A lot of those draft picks acquired players that played a big factor in those cup runs. But because you trade draft picks, you don't have new guys coming in all the time, and your prospect rankings take a hit. So recently there was an article from The Athletic that came out ranking the Lightning at number 32, last in the league when it came to their prospect rankings. The article, to be honest with you, doesn't go into too much detail about it lists a couple of prospects, and that's generally it. But again, this is due to the Lightning trading the draft picks. That's the biggest thing. However, for me, guys, I don't know about you, I don't buy into the rankings that much because the Lightning have had players almost every single year that come up out of nowhere, and people constantly say the same thing. Where did this guy come from? How did the Lightning get their hands on them? And again, we've talked about this multiple times on this podcast. Ross Colton, Nick Perbix are the two that quickly come to mind. And I would not be surprised to see another guy come up. Now, they did talk about how Connor Geekie, who Lightning acquired in one of the trades this offseason, is a big boost for them in their prospect rankings.
Yeah, I think 32 might be a little unfair. It's definitely not anywhere in the top half of the league, but 32 is definitely a bit unfair. Sorry if you can hear my dog in the background rustling around. She loves to get the zoomies mid-recording. But yeah, Connor Geekie, he adds a huge boost to our rankings. And I've seen a couple of different rankings. The Athletic comes out with one, NHL Discussion, and a couple other people come out with one. But I've seen them ranked as low as or as high as 24, which is pretty good to me. That might also not be a little fair. I'd probably put us around that 28 range. I'm going to admit I don't follow every single team's prospect pool in the league, so it's kind of impossible for me to give my own fair ranking, but 32 might be a bit harsh. But with Connor Geekie coming in, he's a guy that has a lot of hype around him. I don't think a lot of our fans even still really know, and I think he does boost us up a good bit. It gets pretty weaker and weaker down, as you go down, but you still got guys like Isaac Howard. I guess Hugo Alnefeld can still be considered, a prospect. And then, of course, Maxim Groshev, who you're very high on, Jake, and Michael's really high on. So, it really only takes one of these players to pan out and turn into a Point or a Kucherov or a Colton or somebody else like that to really make those rankings kind of worthless.
Yeah, that's the way I'd describe it. To me, it's almost like a worthless statistic because you know who has really good prospect pools? Losers, and that's the truth. You have to be a loser to get those picks, and the mentality has been win now. And because of that, rather than building a pool that you might not see any talent come out of for 3, 4, 5 years, you trade for players that are established or that you think will plug a hole that you currently have in your lineup. We still do, that being said, have quite a few prospects that, could potentially slot in even this season, like with Geekie. So you really have to look at where the Lightning lacking that can be filled by a prospect. Last season, maybe, we could have used some help, bottom lines, the third and fourth line. But we tried a different strategy that just didn't happen to work out, and I don't think that was, did pull up quite a few prospects in the process. I don't think that having a weaker prospect pool necessarily means that overall the team is weaker. Even with Alnefelt, he's a good goalie, but he's never gonna see time in Tampa with Vasti around. I mean, I can't imagine him being used for anything other than either making the AHL squad better or being traded down the line.
Yeah, and like all these prospects too, even with them being drafted, and they're not draft picks anymore, but they're still unproven non-NHL players. They're still magic beans. You get players drafted in the first 10 spots that, a lot of them become busts. It's not a guarantee, depending where you're drafted, that you're going to be an NHL star. And then you have guys like Henrik Zetterberg and Pavel Datsyuk, Andre Palat, Joe Pavelski, who are all, 6th and 7th round picks, and, 8th, 9th, and 10th round picks that don't even exist anymore. They really are just magic beans. It depends how you develop them. And the Lightning have a great development system like they have for, over a decade now. Again, pulling, random guys, undrafted guys like Tyler Johnson and Yanni Gourdow, making them into, bona fide NHL players. Going back a little bit further, Marty St. Louis, he was kind of nothing in Calgary and then turned into an actual Hall of Famer here in Tampa. And it's not just a Tampa thing, it's an everybody thing. They're literally just magic beans. I don't put much stock into these rankings at all. It just depends how devoted these players are, how well they transition into the NHL, how well they take care of themselves, and just sheer luck really too. That plays a huge factor.
Luck plays a big factor in them even getting a chance to be brought up because, when it comes to the top 6, we've been stacked for a really long time. So you'd get ABB would come up and not be able to cut it. And that was about the only person that could play on a top 6 line or a top 6 forward role that we could pull from those AHL guys. So what does that give you? Like the luck side, what does that give you for an opportunity? There might not be one for some of these players.
Daniel, to answer your question here, did the article come out before or after they acquired Geekie? It was after. So they still got us ranked as the lowest prospect. Geekie, they did mention in the article that it was obviously Lightning's number 1 prospect and a guy that could play this upcoming season. Matt, you are absolutely right. I'm very high on Maxim Groshev. He's the one that I'm definitely most excited about. I don't know what his ETA could possibly be. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to watch AHL games. The only way you can watch them is through a paid subscription to the AHL. But he played first year in Syracuse this year. And I believe he had 30 total points. I think it was 10 goals, 20 assists in 63 games played, which not too bad for your first year in the AHL. But
the AHL is a low-scoring league as well. Like if you're a point-per-game player, you're one of the superstars in that league, and you're probably getting plucked up to the NHL soon. So you got to take a lot of these stats with a grain of salt too.
Right, absolutely. Well, I mean, look at ABB. He was one of the top guys in the Syracuse every year, and he just couldn't cut it. So that it doesn't tell the whole story. The stats right there. And I know every time Groshev has been up with the Lightning in the prospect camps early on in training camp, he has impressed. A lot of people have liked what they've seen from him. So don't know the ETA on him, but he's a guy that I definitely have my eye on. I'm very excited about. But and listen, the other big thing too is the Lightning historically have been really, really good with their draft picks. So, they may not have a lot of prospects to really build up that prospect pool, and that's why they're so low in the rankings. But at the end of the day, all you need is one home run, and that's a point on the board, right? So as long as they can get one player to come up like they have for the past couple of years, they should be all right. And at the end of the day, being ranked number 32 isn't the worst thing in the world.
And I don't think I'm in the minority here. I think this is probably the strongest our prospect pool has been in since even before all the cups, let's say, 2018 or so. Has there been anybody that you've been excited to come and see, maybe join the team or something? No, it's all been players, through free agency and signings or trades and all that. There's not been one blue chip prospect. Maybe you can call Sergachev that way long ago. Yeah, not even really. So
he came straight into play.
Yeah, that's a good point. So I'd argue that this is probably the best our prospect pool has looked in, half a decade or more.
Well, what's that tell you that this is the most excited about your prospect pool? And we're ranked number 32 by a lot. But hey, we'll at the end of the day, all that matters is how you play on the ice when you officially get to the NHL. And what happens this season, we'll have to wait and see, but it'll be exciting. It's something to keep our eye on, especially early on into prospect camp this year for the Lightning. One more thing we got for you guys, and where we thought, there's not a lot of news in as we wait to get closer and get things underway here in the NHL, but we thought we'd have some fun here. So that was put out, I think it was on Facebook, if I remember correctly. Yes, it actually came from Facebook, which is not normally a place you want to go to for Lightning content, but basically somebody posted the history of the center ice logos for the Lightning at all the different arenas. And I thought it was pretty cool to look at, and there were some cool, unique things. So I'm going to try and put it up here. Hopefully it doesn't break everything, but thought we could have some fun about this. We were talking about it in our group chat when I threw it in there. We thought we'd bring it to the show here as well. So let me pull it up quickly. Here it is. Here is the the look at the all the different logos at center ice over the years for the Lightning. Of course, you got this one this year with the typical Lightning new logo in Amalie Arena. It goes all the way back to when they had the two logos just on either side. Guys, do you have any favorites here?
I like the Hockey Bay logo. I can't see the 2006 year. I like that. It's kind of unique. I don't know if it really fits, but I kind of like the Hockey Bay slogan, and of course the OG logos too. The solid, not the flipped, the two of them, but like the one solid big one in the middle. Love the OG logo.
I say the Hockey Bay one is one that I remember, as well, that getting put in and being excited about it because having basically just won a Stanley Cup and then trying to defend the fact that, hey, we've got a hockey team here when there's still all the Northern franchise fans would deny that there's anything good about hockey in Florida. So that was a cool one to get that rebranding sort of thing going on.
Also, I'm a sucker for all the anniversary ones, the 10 and 25 and 30-year ones. All look good, especially the 10 one. I think that one was unique. I don't know if it looked good, but it stood out.
Matt, I'm right there with you with the OG logo still being my favorite. I know, in today's day and age, you're going for that kind of minimalist new look, but I really do enjoy that old logo. Matt, which one do you like better? Do you like the OG logo because they changed the colors of the Tampa Bay Lightning? I think that's the main part that they changed. Where the one is the original one is like almost a lighter blue, and then they changed it to a darker blue. Do you have a preference on either of those?
Nah, I just like the design of it. I think the storm clouds and all that are cool. I don't really care. I change my opinion like I change my clothes.
I'm personally a fan of the darker one. I think but I'm right there with you too, though. That you could throw up either, and they're both really nice.
Just to be contrarian, I like the lighter one.
There you go. All
right. One thing I do miss is it being called Ice Palace. That was that was a neat thing back in the day.
Ice Palace was great. Well, that was before the time of everybody needs more money and you got to sell the naming rights in another way. So actually, Ice Palace is just a name. I don't think that's.
Yeah, they did. There was no naming rights at that time. No one had bought it yet. But looking at the current logo, especially with all these iterations on the screen, I know it's simplistic, but man, do the other logos look dated now? To me, they just look so dated.
Oh yeah,
the font choice that was used, even the 08 redesign, where that just looks too, I don't know, comic book-esque, I think.
Because everything is just dulled down, dumbed down, and oversimplified now. Like I miss old art styles, font styles, and everything. Everything has to be sleek and cool and minimalistic. I'm very nostalgic for the old dated stuff.
Yeah, I'm with Matt. I just think that OG one is still by far my favorite, even if it does look old. By the way, Daniel says current one is the cleanest. It's definitely the cleanest, but literally called the cleanest because there's not much on it. I do like the new one. I will say my least favorite is the second logo that they had, where it's got the blue stripe in the Lightning Bolt. I was not a big fan of that logo and those jerseys. But let us know down in the comments here live or whether you're watching later on YouTube which one is your personal favorite. Love to hear what you guys have to think. What do you guys think of the? Go ahead, Matt.
It's a bit of a tangent, but it's still kind of the same, on topic with the center ice logos. But the Ottawa Senators and the Vancouver Canucks went to a full circle center ice logo. The Ottawa Senators one, it looks good. They reverted back to their OG Centurion logo. But the Vancouver Canucks, if you can picture their logo with the orca kind of like that C shape, for Canucks, it's very, I don't even know how you'd say it, ovally. It's not a perfect circle, and they tried to make it a perfect circle for the center ice circle, and it just looks so wrong. I don't know if you can find a picture of it anywhere, but it's ugly. They tried to make an oval a circle. Imagine the Ford logo in a perfect circle. It just looks wrong.
Yeah, it's easy to pull up, but I do like that they're doing that. I think that's it looks a lot better than
Really?
putting. Yeah, because I think it looks like what they actually did was they enlarged the size of the logo so that there was no white space. If that makes any sense. I mean, I dig it personally for Canucks.
I can't say I was a fan.
I'm trying to make sure I have it here. I think this is the one you are talking about. Here, maybe I could throw it up here for our viewers as well, so we can check it out. Let's see here. I think if this is the one you're talking about, though, I think I do like it.
I never stated I was the one to have great opinions.
Is this the
just
one you're
correct
talking
opinions? Yes. I don't know. You're kind of messing with your logo.
The question I would have too, though, is tracking a puck through that large of an area.
That is
going to be a little bit difficult with those darker colors, and even though it'll probably have better contrast like between the puck and the ice in person, that still might be just a little dark.
Yeah, that is a good point. I kind of like it though. I get something different. It's not your traditional way the logo looks, and I don't know, man. I think I kind of like it a little bit.
Dang.
Well, I got something fun that all the guys will agree with me on. Nope.
Joe, I know how to solve the puck issue. We bring back the glow puck from way back in the day.
Don't even. I mean, you don't even bring that up as something to remember about, or like the transparent boards where you could see through the boards to where the puck was supposed to be. That was
oh boy.
Yeah,
they come up with some crazy idea, and they're still doing it now. We got the digital dasher boards that are so much fun as well.
Jake, I just sent you the Senators one, or I sent it in.
Following up.
You got it.
Now both of you guys are going to say you hate that one, and I like it.
Just to throw the contrarian standpoint back at you.
I guess I deserve that.
Do you guys like the as I'm waiting for this to pull up? So the OG one for the Lightning was the two logos on either side, and they're flipped in reverse. I'm not a fan of that. I like one logo in center ice, and it's big enough to cover the whole thing.
It looks too busy to me.
What were we talking about? Which?
Like for the OG logos, the Storm logos, there's two of them and they're like mirrored.
Yeah, they're upside down. So whichever side of the ice that you look at, it'll show. I remember like when they first changed that, thinking that because I had the section, it faces the press box, and I was sitting on the other side, thinking like, oh, everything is aligned, and then they put they did the visuals on the ice so that they're for both sides. Could see it, but when they switched it to just one side, makes it so much better of like an art board where you can work with it. It's definitely a good move not having it mirrored.
Yeah, I was not a fan of that. The one logo looking towards where the cameras are, that one's definitely far my favorite. All right, I got the Auto Centers pulled up. Matt, which you said this is one you liked or didn't like?
I did like it.
I don't like it. It's unfortunately I can't get it up here on the screen. But look, if you look it up, you should be able to find it on Google. But this one's like a little too much zoomed into me, where you lose kind of the whole art of the logo. I feel like the Vancouver Canucks one, you can still see the majority of the Canuck, if that makes sense. So no, I'm not a fan of this one. I don't think it would work for the Lightning either. Like if you zoomed in the Lightning logo, I don't think it would look good. So I think it kind of depends on the logo and how much you go into it. But I'm yes on the Canucks, no on the Ottawa Senators. So I'm opposite of you, Matt. Yo, did you like the Senators one? What did you say?
I mean, I like it being filled. Like I said, again, just there's black in the logo, so we'll see how much shit lightens up when you put ice over top of it.
It's almost September when we're talking about other teams' center ice logos.
We're in the midst of the offseason. Well, to go back to the Lightning center ice stuff, I do want to mention too, we didn't talk about the outside of the center ice logo, because of course you have as Joe kind of mentioned, the Ice Palace name back when the Lightning had that arena, and then you had the different names for the Lightning arena over the years. You, of course, have the St. Pete Times Forum, you have the Tampa Bay Times, and then you have Amalie Arena. I think it's so funny that the Lightning had the St. Pete Times Forum, which, of course, is in St. Pete across the bay from Tampa Bay, and then you have the Tampa Bay Rays, who are in St. Pete. I don't know how that all worked out. I preferred the Tampa Bay Times. That was my personal favorite arena name.
I liked the St. Pete Times Forum. Just, I don't know. It's a nostalgic ring to me. I'd always see
ring off the tongue or roll off the tongue a little bit better than Tampa.
It is a mouthful. And I was never down for the switch from St. Pete to Tampa Bay Times. I just thought St. Pete Times worked a lot better. But, it was the newspaper company. So the St. Pete Times encompassed all of Tampa Bay, so I understand your gripe, but I don't agree with it.
Yeah, it is kind of ironic that a newspaper where Tampa Bay is supposed to cover multiple counties, St. Pete is specific to a city within Pinellas County, yet the St. Pete Times actual newspaper had their headquarters in Tampa. For a long while as well.
Then never mind.
It gets confusing with the whole Tampa, St. Pete, Tampa Bay, which is both them, but it's called Tampa. It can get a little wonky in there, but I don't mind Amalie either. The current one we have now. My biggest gripe with Amalie is that people just don't know how to pronounce it, and so many times from people who don't know the Lightning, they'll call it Amalie. It's like, come on, man, it's Amalie. Let's make sure we get it right. I don't know if you guys have ever heard people calling it that, but common mispronunciation.
I have a buddy of mine who he's a pretty casual fan, but he'll go to some games with me. And he's one of those people that calls it Amalie Arena, and I'd correct him. And so just to get me angry, he continues to call it Amalie Arena, and now he just calls it the Omelet. So
the Omelet?
Nice. Yes. Which I kind of like. I think it's funny, but you'd have to be there.
That's pretty funny. Hey, instead of
it is. I was just gonna say real quick that is amazing though. It's already been. I think we mentioned it before. It's already been almost 10 years. This season will be the 10th season that it's been Amalie.
Wow.
It's already been 10 years. Jeez, I didn't even realize that.
So 2015 was the first season with it, and
surprised we haven't had change.
Yeah.
All right, we always talk about jersey ads, but if you could handpick an arena sponsor, who would you choose?
See, now this is okay with picking, as long as it doesn't go on the jersey. I can get behind a. I mean, I want to say Publix, because I do think that it just works with this area, but. Also, I want the Rays, when they build their new stadium, even though it should not be in St. Pete, don't get me started on that. I think Publix Park works so much better than like Publix. Well, actually, Publix Arena kind of ring.
I can get the Publix Park. I think that sounds nice.
Yeah,
See,
public plug for a baseball field, though. That wouldn't work obviously for the Lightning. So
that
Right.
would work for a good field. My only issue with that is that the Panthers, like their Thunder Alley is called the Publix Plaza, so that's a little bit too close to being like little brother.
if I'm not mistaken, the Lightning actually do have a Publix Plaza as well, don't they?
Oh, maybe.
I know a couple years ago they put a small little sign. I think it's like on the back side of the arena. It's like a public. I don't remember if it's maybe somebody here in the chat can say something as well. I think it's Publix Plaza. They put out there.
The correct answer.
Daniel said both.
Okay.
So I don't know who did it first, but I know
probably us. We're cooler.
I know one to do it Publix.
The correct answer for the arena sponsor would be RBLR Arena, and we could have a really cool shop out front, like the pro sports shop where we could sell all our merch. But I guess that's wishful thinking. So maybe for the time being, you guys could head over to
shop.rblrsports.com. That was an amazing transition, Matt. Yes, head over to shop.rblrsports.com. Check out our awesome team-inspired merch. Lightning, Bucks, Rays, Rowdies, you name it, we got it. You can use code BOLTS to get 10% off your order as well. It's time to stock up, guys. Lightning hockey season is right around the corner, so don't forget to go check out the awesome team-inspired merch. Links, as always, are in the description, so you can go check that out.
I like that one.
Proud of myself.
That was good. I give you a lot of credit for that, Matt. Want to mention one more. Let's see, a couple more comments here. Daniel, the arena closer to Sparkman Wharf.
Oh, is
the
that
area.
the Publix Plaza?
Oh, yes. Oh, the area. Okay. Yes. Yeah, which I believe is technically the backside of the arena. I guess there's not really the back entrance, kind of where the players are. But yeah, Publix Plaza. But Matt, to officially answer your question, I think I would go with Publix. I think that one just works. I can't think of anything else that would, like company wise.
For some reason, I can't get Outback out of my head.
What?
Outback?
Yeah, Outback Steakhouse.
Outback Arena? I don't know.
Well, that's just it. I can't think of how to name it properly.
If
Emily just gets stuck in my head for the last 10 years.
If I was like a rich, evil billionaire and I owned the Lightning or something like that, that's still maybe in my goals. I would buy like TD Garden or the Panthers Arena, whatever they call themselves now, and I'd name it like something to do with the Lightning, something to like really, kick them in their teeth a little bit and, make them realize they're playing in our building, but we'll lease it to you guys for a little bit.
I wonder if Emily is getting close to the point of like it's just kind of how like it's not a Staples Center, but there's some arenas that come up with great names that just are set and ready to go for a stadium, and no matter what happens, even when a team changes it, fans will still call it the other name. I don't know if Emily's getting to that point. Maybe because it's been there for so. How long were the other ones there for? I can probably look at this on this picture.
Staples Center was Staples Center for a while. There's still Kings fans that call it that. The Crypto.com arena has got to be one of the worst arena names in the world. It's just a mouthful and it doesn't look good on like any kind of type. Crypto.com arena.
St. Pete Times Forum was 10 years.
That they had it as that, you're saying?
As St. Pete, yes. I believe
Before
so.
they rebranded themselves to Tampa Bay Times Forum, or Tampa Bay Times?
Correct, which was only there for 4 years. No, 5 years. My apologies. So we've gone, Ice Palace was there for 5 years. St. Pete was there for 10. And then back down to 5, and then 10 again. So if anything, that should mean, if history says anything, we should have a new arena name next year for another 5 years. And then we're gonna know. I don't know, but
I also really do like the alliteration to Emily Arena AA. I think it works really well. I don't even use
that's why
Emily.
I said Publix Park, because you got the
yes,
and that's why I was also hesitating on the Outback. Like, I don't know, the Outback octagon, but we don't have that shape. It was something that would work out for it.
That would be pretty funny. But All right, guys, that's going to do it for us in this episode. Thank you so much all for tuning in here. We're getting closer and closer to hockey season, so don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes when we start diving into all of the fun stuff here for the Lightning in the preseason. There'll be plenty to talk about. Ring that bell for notifications. Hit that share button if you did enjoy. It really helps us out, and we really do appreciate it. But with that said, have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you guys in the next one. Go Bolts!
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.